All right, good Monday morning to all of you. No worries, it's a short week. It's a holiday week, and there's a lot of hockey this week. All right, but we have to close out week 7, of course, and so as we do on Monday, we will have stars and standings. So, looking at the standings first, two new first place teams. Yep. All right, so starting off with the Continental Division, the Zydeco, worst the first story. Amazing. So Zydeco on top of things right now, 9-3-1 for 25 points. And now, of course, they've played more games than Carolina or Athens or Columbus, but still, at this point, they are in first place. A reminder, points is our primary tiebreaker. So, we go with that. We go with total wins and then winning percentage. Now, if some unfortunate things do happen this week, which I'm hoping not, that points percentage could come into play. But at least right now, again, Zydeco are in first place. Carolina has been climbing up the ladder. They are now just 2 points behind, 23 points, and 4-game winning streak as well. The Athens Rock Lobster is still sitting there at 9-1, but now that's third place. It's amazing how quickly things change, especially in the early part of the season. Really, you're not going to see things settle down until about Christmas time. And then, pretty much for the most part, how teams fit and the order then, that's where they're going to be most of the year. Okay, after Athens, we have the Columbus River Dragons, who are looking for some offense right now, 6-1-2, 19 points, tied in points with the Blue Ridge Bobcats, but Columbus has, the same amount of regulation wins, so you go with points percentage there. So Columbus would be the fourth team, Blue Ridge the fifth. And then Monroe, by virtue of a couple of wins this weekend, they're back in the picture. They're only 2 points out, 5-5-3 now. And then Mississippi at 1-9-1. So there's quite a gap between here. Now, when you go to the Empire Division, you got the top 2 teams almost neck and neck, and then the rest. So it's a case of the haves and the have-nots there. Watertown 10-1-1, 29 points, 8 regulation wins, the most of anyone in the FPHL. Of course, 1 point behind. And 1 regulation win behind is Binghamton Black Bears, 10-2-1. So first time this year, Binghamton's looking up at the standings. Watertown has been first or second all year round. So this isn't much of an ascent for them, but nonetheless, first place. I believe this is the first time that the Wolves have been in first place by themselves since the 2021-22 season. So, it's been a long time coming. Port Huron leads the rest of the bunch, and you can see they're kind of bunched pretty closely together, 15, 14, 13, and then there's a little bit of a gap. But Port Huron 5-6-2, 15 points. You got Danbury by virtue of that win this weekend, 4-4-3 for 14 points. Hudson Valley, right now, we're waiting for that to sort out. We'll talk a little bit about that at the end of this. 4-4-1, and Motor City is 3-8, and the Dashers 1-10-1. So and of course, as we've done in previous weeks, the red teams would be quote unquote out of the playoffs. If the playoffs were to start today, we have a long time before we have to worry about that. So, this is really interesting. All these teams kind of bunched together. I mean, it's 8 points between Baton Rouge, and Monroe. And of course, with 3-point wins, if you win in regulation, you're going to make that up pretty quick, potentially. So, all right, so there's our updated standings. And again, I try and simplify it instead of all these shootout losses and overtime wins and all these different columns. This is what you really need to know here. So, all right, let's move on to the stars portion. All right. We're just gonna simplify things. We're gonna go with 6 stars for the week. Um, Obviously, nobody had big stats this weekend because it was an abbreviated schedule. We only had a total of 10 games this whole weekend. So very unusual. It almost feels like last year. But all right, let's go through this. Carolina, 2 representatives amongst the stars. And first is Mario Cavalieri. Of course, he had the shutout on Friday night. And then very good game. I just realized this is not correct. This should be 50 of 52. So this number is going to be wrong. This number is going to be actually a little bit higher. Hold on. Yep. Just had to double check my other notebook. Yeah, 50 of 52 for Cavalier. So this number's wrong. All right. Sorry about that. But 2 wins with the shutout. The goals against average is correct, 0.96, which is amazing. The save percentage, I'm doing an estimation just off the top of my head here. It's going to be more like 956, I think, 50 of 52. So excellent weekend for Mario. Peter Panachik, 2 goals and 3 assists. He was one of the 2 top scorers of the week. And this is just a little lopsided. It's a curious wolf head. Anyway, okay. Mentioning Matt Graham, 4 assists on the weekend, which, no goals, but, he's setting up his teammates. He is now 19 points away from 500 in career. Of course, he would be the 4th player to reach 500 points in the Fed. He's already number 2 in assists in Fed history. Nobody is catching the leader, who is Ahmed Mahfouz. Mahfouz had 583 assists. Nobody's catching him. But Graham can hit 350 with 34 34 assists total. So it's been a long weekend and I'm tired. I'm sorry. But yeah. I'm sorry. Never mind. Okay, 34 points. If he gets 34 points altogether, goals and assists this year, then he'll pass former teammate Dalton J, and he will be the 3rd highest scorer of all time in the Fed. So, that's fantastic. All right. So, for Monroe Moccasins, Helmer Oscarson, he has been playing just absolutely lights out the last couple weeks. He had 4 assists for the Moccasins from the defensive position. So he's our only defenseman, on the list. But yeah, very nice weekend from Oscarson, and you can see why Monroe made such a big deal out of when they signed him. I mean, it was like they had announced we found gold. Maybe they did. All right. For the Watertown Wolves, Michael Mercurio, he takes over the scoring lead for the week. 2 goals, 3 assists. Absolutely fantastic night Friday night. 5 point. He factored in the 5 goals of the 8 that Watertown scored. And then our final one, Blue Ridge Bobcats, Nick Stuckless. What a great story. He was released by Binghamton last weekend, signed by the Bobcats, and he ends up having 3 goals scored on the weekend. Both games, he scores the game winner. Really good story. I saw Nick live in Binghamton, and the hustle was there, the desire was there. It just, for some reason, it just wasn't clicking for him on Binghamton. He just needed the right situation, and apparently the Bobcats are the right situation for him. So, congratulations to Nick Douglas. Congratulations to all 6 members of the Stars of the Week for Week 7. All right, just as a closing note, mentioning 2 teams that have been talked about a whole lot. All right, because again, I want to stress this. First one is the easy one, the Motor City Rockers. Okay, everybody's been waiting for the other shoe to drop ever since Scott Brand was released by the ownership group. And while no, that's not a good thing, the team is not collapsing. The team is not folding. The postponed game wasn't their decision. It was made by the league's executive board to postpone the game. All right. Motor City wanted to play. Watertown Wolves wanted to play. Everybody wanted to play, but half an hour after puck drop, the league said, "You know what? We're not gonna drag this out. We're just gonna suspend the game." So it was their decision, not the Rockers. The Rockers are not going anywhere this season. Okay, so don't worry about that. One of the things that Scott Brand did for the team, if you watch a game for the Motor City Rockers, you see all the advertisements on all the dasher boards. All right, that's money generated, revenue created for the team coming in. Those are ads sold to corporations, whether they just buy the advertising space or they have a sponsorship. That's money coming into the Motor City Rockers. So the Rockers have capital coming in. All right, they're not broke. They're not getting the fan support they need. They need more fan support, yes, but they're not going to fall apart financially and announce next week, "Hey, we're folding." It's not happening. So Motor City fans, take comfort in that, knowing that the team's going to be there this year. All right. The situation with Hudson Valley is less certain. Yes, but we don't know exactly what the situation is, other than there are some major financial issues. Yes. We know Pat Manning is out as owner, that something's going to be worked out, whether it's the league takes the team over or a new ownership group steps up, or perhaps the owners of the Icetime Arena complex will operate the team. Those are all possibilities, but nothing has been decided yet. Okay, that's still all up in the air. The league has been working very hard on a solution to this. They will have something announced by this weekend. Now, there are a number of possibilities of what could happen. We'll talk about it more tomorrow on News and Notes. Okay, but again, we can only talk about so much, because until a decision is reached, we just have to say, well, here are some possibilities, but we don't know. All right. What's going to be the outcome for the Venom? We don't know. We just don't know right now. All right. But the league is endeavoring to try and find the best possible solution. Obviously, the team folding would not be the best possible solution, so that's a last resort. The league's going to do everything that they can to keep the Venom going. All right. So I'll just say that. All right. Again, we don't know a whole lot. It's in the league's hands. All right. So that is what we got for today. Again, tomorrow we are going to have News and Notes on the Flash Audio Network. Later today on the Flash Audio Network, we are going to have power rankings. I'm doing it on Monday this week because we've got games on Tuesday, games on Wednesday, games on Friday and Saturday. So, yeah, lots going in. Avail yourself to the schedule for the week on my Facebook page as far as when we'll be doing stuff. Flash Audio Network, YouTube, a lot of YouTube this week, and of course on Facebook. And if we have any big pressing news, we will announce it on Facebook. All right, I'm Gary Ryan for the Fed League Flash. I hope you have a wonderful week. If for some reason we don't touch base until afterwards, have a wonderful Thanksgiving and enjoy your week. We'll talk to you soon.